Let's cross straight to Hong Kong to speak with Jameel Ahmad, who's Chief Analyst at GTC Group. Hi, Jameel. Jameel, how are the markets faring today?
Thank you, Haxi. It's a bit of a quiet day, and it's been a bit of a quiet start to the week so far for global markets, but it could be somewhat the metaphor, some calm before the storm, because we do have some critical economic data over the days ahead. And as we've spoken about in recent weeks, investors have a lot of questions right now, but they don't have answers. And we're talking specifically about central bank policy. So if we look at today, we've got UK monthly employment data. That follows that swerve from the Bank of England last week, where they pretty much opened the door fully to a potential interest rate cut over the coming months. We've got the German economic sentiment, the zoo sentiment that is. And then over today and tomorrow, we've got US PPI, US CPI, which are both different forms of inflation reports. We know how much a buzzword inflation is right now for the world economy. And we also have US retail sales. So we might not be hearing from the central banks directly, but we have a lot of data that can beat the drum for what the central banks can say over the weeks and months ahead, and hopefully provide some answers to investors in what is a quiet market environment.
Jameel, meanwhile, a massive surge in GameStop has left some short sellers rather red in the face this morning.
It's a flash in the past, because we saw this happen about 3 years or so ago. We have this very famous internet meme, or how we call it, something to do with Roaring Kitty. It's basically an army of different day traders, and they came to the call yesterday because it was the first post in roughly 3 years, and it seemed to hint that the army of day traders need to be supporting this call to buy GameStop, and buy they did, because the GameStop share went up about 74%. We had somewhat near $800 million as of yet that apparently was wiped from hedge funds who were actually selling the share price. And if we look at what happened yesterday, which again is a phenomenal move, unexpected. Now the market has sold roughly and lost about $1.25 billion in May, based on the amount of selling expectations that were priced into the market. But this Roaring Kitty army of day traders have jumped to the action, and they've really heard that noise, and they're really trying to bump up the share price overall.
And Jameel, what are traders going to be watching out for today?
We're going to be looking at the PPI. Now, the PPI stands for Producer Price Index, and that's pretty much I would say, a co-main event gauge of inflation before tomorrow's Consumer Price Index, which is the CPI. Sorry for all those abbreviations, but these technical terms basically are gauges for how inflation expectations, and it's really going to show this data is from the US, and it's going to answer the questions as to whether the Federal Reserve, which is the US central bank, are still in line to cut interest rates in the United States later this year, because we've had a lot of concerns recently that it's like a diet. Inflation come down a lot, lost many kilograms, but then those kilograms slowly came back on. And now the market wants guidance as to whether the inflation expectations have fallen again, to really present the case for the Federal Reserve that they will pull the trigger on lower US interest rates over the months ahead.
Jameel Ahmad, as ever, thank you.